everybody, in this video what I'm going to do is some more stuff with conditionals revisited using conditional proof, and we're going to do problems 7 through 11. Let's get into it. Okay, let's now take a look at number 7 here. This is on page 54. There's the italicized argument, and then let's actually get to the actual thing. Here's what it says. This one's weird. It says this: if you flinch, I'll kill you. Okay, so if means there's an arrow in there. So if you flinch, then I'll kill you. Delightful. That's our first assumption. Second assumption: and if I have to kill you, I'll kill her. It starts with and, but since it starts with a superfluous and, there's no dot going on there because it wouldn't be well formed otherwise. So if I have to kill you, I'll kill her. Assumption. Therefore, so this is what we're solving for. Therefore, I'll kill both of you if you flinch. So, if you flinch, I'll kill who? Both of you. How do I say that? You and her. There's a certain sense here in that it's ambiguous, where I would accept F arrow H dot Y. That would be fine too, because it's not clear in the both, like which one comes first. I'm just doing it because this is the first one that came. So let's do this problem. So the translation is done. Let's do the work. First of all, arrow out. Do we have any arrows not in parentheses? Yeah, we got 2. Okay. Do we have any left side matches here? No. Any dots we can break apart? No. Anything we should bring together? Again, we can bring these two together. Should we? No. So then we do this. Emergency situation. Is our goal an arrow? Yes, it is. So what are we going to do? We are going to provisionally assume this, and then we're going to try and get this. Provisionally assume the left side, get the right side. So let's do that. Let's indent as we start our side quest. So we're going to provisionally assume F. Okay, provisionally assume PA. Let's just see if this works. And what we're after, right now the mission right now has become get Y and H. Okay, so this is one of those things. I see it right now. I'm going to go ahead and say this. It's a dot. So 99% likelihood, what we're going to do is we're going to have a Y and H and put them together with an and in. Okay? It's probably what's going to happen. So let's do the work. Do we have an arrow out now? Yeah, we got a left side match here. And that unlocks Y. Arrow out. Where was the arrow? 1. Where was this left side match? 3. But now with the Y, we have another arrow out that we can do, which is going to unlock the H. H. Arrow out. Where was the arrow we used? 2. The left side match, line 4. Okay, now, can we do another arrow out? Nope, those have all been done. Can we do an and out? Are there any dots to separate? No. Alright, so is there anything we should build? Well, I was already saying, like we're trying to get a dot. Do we have the pieces to build it? We need Y and H. Do we have those pieces? Yep, we just got them. Put them together. Y dot H. And in is the move. Where do those pieces come from? Lines 4 and 5 respectively. Hey, we got the thing we were trying to get in the side quest. Mission complete. So then we zoom out and we say, yeah, if you have F, thing we're trying to get, if you have F, it will lead to Y and H because of this move. You can stick an arrow in there. Where did it start? We started in line 3. Where did it end? It ended in line 6. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. So this one is found, the actual one that we're going to be translating is found on page 55. Let's get into it. It says this. Now, Little John will be eligible if, which means we've got an arrow here. So first line, it's an arrow. He will be eligible if. Now this means already the eligible is on the right side of the arrow, and whatever follows if is on the left side. And it gives us numerals here, so it says if 1, so count up how many numbers there are. There's 1, there's 2, that means there's 2 things on the left side of the arrow following if. If 1, he lives in the Asheville district, what's the next word? And, so here we go. Before I even start filling anything else in, I know there's 2 things on the left side of the arrow connected with an and, with a dot. What's the first thing? He lives in the Asheville district. And his uncle is awarded custody. Great. So he's eligible if he lives in the Asheville district and his uncle is awarded custody then he is eligible for whatever it is that we're talking about. Now you notice the next punctuation mark that comes is not a period, it is a semicolon, which means this is not done. Then it says semicolon and, which means we need brackets. Brackets are just super parentheses. It just means this is all a unit and there's more coming. And what? And he does live in the Asheville district. So no, really A. Okay, that is our first assumption. Okay? In fact, that is our only assumption. Because then it says, it follows that, that means here's what you're solving for. What are we solving for? It follows that he will be eligible if the uncle is awarded custody. So we're solving for an arrow. If he's awarded custody, then he'll be eligible. So really what it looks like this problem is doing is it's saying, look, we can see the C, arrow, E hiding in here. It's just simplifying it down. In fact, it looks like it's getting rid of these A's that are obviously redundant. Okay, but you can't just take them out. It's not like they cancel each other out. That's not exactly what's happening. What we need to do is we need to use our skill set based on the moves that we've got to go from this to this. All right, let's see what we got. First of all, do we have any arrows not in parentheses or brackets? And all brackets are just parentheses another level up. That's all they are. Next level up would be braces, and then these things start repeating. In a lot of British logic textbooks, they just use nothing but parentheses. They're just consistent in their application. That's fine too, if you want to do that. Okay, so do we have any arrows not in parentheses? No. There's an arrow here, it's in parentheses. Do we have any dots not in parentheses? Yeah, thankfully this one, right here. So what that's going to do is we can break this apart, and that breaks down the two sides. Thankfully, what that does is for this thing, it gets rid of the brackets. We're able to say A dot C, arrow E, that's one side, and out, line 1. And the other side is just A, also and out, line 1. Cool. Okay, can we do an arrow out now? Because look, now we have an arrow not in parentheses. There it is. Do we have a left side match? We're at 50%. We got half the key. We don't have the C. Okay. Do we have a dot we can break apart? There's a dot right there. It's in parentheses. It's still locked. Okay. Do we have anything we can put together? Yeah, we got a bunch of things we can put together. Any of it look like this? No. So what we need to do now is our emergency move. Is our golden arrow? Yep. So what we do in this situation, as we've been doing, is we're going to PA the left, provisionally assume it, and we're going to get the right. We can do that. We can be done with this problem. So let's do it. So we start our side quest. Line 4, we say, all right, we're going to try C out. It's a provisional assumption, and our quest right now is we're trying to get E by itself. Let's do it. He will be eligible. Prove it. Okay. Now, can we do an arrow out? No. Hopefully you can see here what you want to look for. Oh, the left side of this arrow is A.C. I don't have A.C. You have the pieces to build it though. But just to be consistent, let's go down the list. No, we can't do an arrow out right now. Can we break any apart? Any dots right now? No. Is there anything we should build? This thing. Literally, we put these two things together. That's the left side of this arrow. Let's do it. Build it. A.C. What do we do there? And in. What were those pieces? 3, 4. Now, we get a left side match. That gets out E. Arrow out. The arrow we just used, that was in line 2. The left side match was in line 5. And hey, this E right here is the thing we were trying to get in the first place, which means side quest complete. So I'm going to zoom out here in line 7 and say, yeah, if you provisionally assume C, if you got a C, it'll lead you to E. You can totally stick the arrow in there. Where did that start? Line 4. Where did it stop? Line 6. Problem 8 is done. Now there are two versions of 9a. Let's try and do those. So these translations are a little bit more challenging on number 9a and b. So I'm going to go ahead and set us up with those. Let's do it. Line 1. Reduction by police of the heroin supply is a sufficient condition. We haven't seen one of those in a while. For rising heroin prices. So we got the reduction by police of the heroin supply is a sufficient condition. Sufficient condition, first of all, that means an arrow, and whatever is the sufficient condition goes on the left side. In this case, it's the reduction of the police of the heroin supply. Is a sufficient condition for what? Rising heroin prices. Assumption number 1. Okay, assumption number 2. Second fact. Okay, addicts will need more money for heroin purchases if the price rises. So if the price rises, they'll need more money. But it's not done. And, it says and if. When you say and if, what that means is make a dot, go ahead and make at least another parentheses. Might need another bracket, but that means another arrow is coming, and another arrow is coming. So it might have more stuff in there than this, but a good provisor here is to go ahead and set this up this way. So what it says is if they need more money, then they will commit more crimes. Assumption number 2. Thus, that means here's what you're solving for. Thus, if the police reduce the supply of heroin, if they reduce the supply, crimes committed will increase. Yep, this is the paradox of the war on drugs. You make the drugs go away, crime actually goes up. It seems like the purpose would be like, hey, we're trying to stop crime. Let's get rid of things like heroin. The logic here demonstrates when these things happen, you get rid of supply, prices go up, actually crime increases as a result of trying to reduce drugs in an area. This has been demonstrated. In this particular case, this is about Philadelphia here on page 55. That's true in many other places as well. So regardless, let's prove that argument is true. First of all, we got any arrows not in parentheses? Yeah. Okay, left side match, nowhere to be found. Do we have a dot not in parentheses? Then, yeah, we do. So actually, we can go ahead and break this apart. Let's do it. And that's going to free both of these from their parentheses. We get P arrow N and N arrow C. That's an and out on line 2 for both. Okay, now we got 2 fresh arrows here. Left side matches for either of these two? No. So now we got 3 arrows, no left side matches. Is there anything that we should put together? This is not a dot, so that's not happening. Alright, so then what's the next thing to do? It can't do any of the other 3 things. Our goal is an arrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to PA the left side, and we're going to try and get the right side here. So we begin our side quest. Line 5, S as a provisional assumption. Okay, in trying to solve for C. Okay, so with this S in place, do we have a left side match now? Can we do an arrow out? Yep, there it is. That unlocks P. Arrow out, 1 and 5. Okay, with that P in place, do we have another arrow out that we can do? Yep, there it is right there. This is the left side of an arrow. That's going to unlock the N. Okay, that's arrow out, 3 and 6. Okay, and then with the N here, look, this is another unlock. It's a left side match for line 4. That gets the C. Okay, and that C is what we're after in the first place, which means the side quest is going to be complete right here. So arrow out. Where was that arrow we just used? Line 4. Where was its left side match? Line 7. Here it is, side quest complete. So what I can do now is I can zoom out and I can say, yeah, you reduce the supply, crime's going to go up. How do I know that? Because you can stick an arrow in there. Where did that start? Well, we started by provisionally assuming S in line 5, and we got the right side of the arrow C in line 8. So this works. Let's now take a look at 9B. Now with 9B, I'm not going to give you a problem the way this one is structured. So this one's like, oh, here's the conclusion, and here's the argument not put well together. So it's asking you, based on what the conclusion is and not a formalized version of the argument, figure out what the argument actually is. I'm not going to do that to you, but I'm going to, again, this is 9B, I'm going to show you what it actually is. Okay, so I'm not going to make you do the translating part, but once we get the translating out of the way, this one's actually pretty easy. Okay, so line 1. Okay, so what it would be based on what's in italics there on page 55 is actually this. We would get this. Okay, T arrow D, and actually that's supposed to be a bracket there, so let me rectify that. We would get this in brackets, T arrow D, arrow S, close brackets, arrow R. Assumption number 1. Okay, assumption number 2. Ooh, here's where things get tense. In braces, T arrow D, arrow S, arrow R, close braces, arrow, parentheses, V and P. Those are our two assumptions. Okay, actually what's hiding there, yeah, that's V and P. I know it looks from far away. It's a little bit hard to make out here. But yeah, so this is it. Now this one looks already, this line 2, this looks intense. What are we supposed to do? This is impossible to solve. This is actually super easy. Because check this out. Here's what I want to point out, how easy this actually is. Look what we actually have here. Like, to start, we've got this. Okay, so check it out. We've got, do we have any arrows not in parentheses? Yeah, this one here. Okay, now, this giant left side here. Do we have a left side match for this? Yeah, that's actually what line 1 is. That's all a match for this, which means we unlock immediately this, v.p. Like, so it looks difficult because it's big. Don't be intimidated by size here. Like, this is super easy. This is just a big key that unlocks this. That's it. Okay, and that's actually just arrow out. Where was the arrow? 2, left side match, line 1. That's it. It looks harder than it is. Okay? Now, do we have any dots not in parentheses then? Yeah, I would say break them apart here. We actually don't need to, and I'm going to explain why here in a moment. Actually, we kind of do and we kind of don't. So let me just say this. So I'm going to say go ahead, just for the sake of principle, let's break these apart. Okay, this is going to be kind of silly. I'm going to say this is the rule. We take them, we break them apart. V.P. Okay, that's and out on line 3, that V.P there, and that's also and out on line 3. All right, then we want to get T arrow V.P. Okay, can we do another arrow out? Nope, they've all been done. Can't add any more dots to break apart. No. Any more ants put together now? Doesn't seem like it. So what do? Is our goal an arrow? Yep. So we're going to start a side quest. And this one's going to go a little bit peculiarly. Okay? But it still works. So look, side quest starts. We're going to provisionally assume the T, because that's what we do. We provisionally assume the left side. Let me see, can we get the right? Okay? So we're going to provisionally assume T. And I'm going to say I want to get V.P. Now, in a sense, I already have it. And I broke it down. And so all I need to do is, if I can provisionally assume T, can I get V and P together again? Yeah. Just stick them back together. V.P. And in. 4 and 5. There is a way to do this without having to separate them, but I'm just going to say, for the sake of knowing our different moves, like if you can break the dots apart, go and break them back apart. And then the rule is simply this. Now, we didn't use the T at all. Like, we didn't have to use it in an arrow out or anything. We didn't use it. Does that mean this is invalidated? No, look, it just says, as long as you stick that T there as a provisional assumption, can you get the V.P? Not that you have to use line 6 or use the T. Can you get V.P? Bam! There it is. So that means, as quickly as you possibly could, side quest is done. And this is going to be ridiculously short. Look at this. We can say, yeah, you get T? Yeah, you can get V.P. And you still stick an arrow in there. It's a short arrow to stick in, but you got it. And where did it start? 6, and it was over immediately. That works. And so this problem is done. Now, I'm probably not going to give you a problem like this where you have the conclusion and then you have to work backwards to figure out the assumptions. In fact, I'm not going to give you a problem like that at all. But in terms of problems that we're going to do next, the next one that I want to take a look at in here, not number 10, let's take a look at number 11. Number 11 works this way. It's found on page 56, and about in the middle of the page, number 11 has an S1 and an S2, and it says, prove that the S1 gets you to S2. So first we need to translate the S1. Alright, this is actually a translation, I think, from when we were first doing arrows, and where I said it was kind of ambiguous which way it could be. What you're doing in this problem is proving, hey, the one ambiguous one actually leads to the other. So it says this. The first one says, S1, if you have a specific question, and it tells us where to put the parentheses here. If you have a specific question, then we will relay it to him if he calls in. Okay, so let's start with this. And then it says, okay, if you got that, prove that you can get. If he calls in, then if you have a specific question, then we'll relay it to him. Okay, so prove that these things can lead to each other. All right, fine. Okay, so let's do the moves. There's an arrow not in parentheses. Do we have a left side match? No. Do we have any dots we can break apart? No. Do we have anything we can build? No. Is our goal an arrow? Yes. So what are we going to do? Provisionally assume this. Get this. That's the mission. So let's start our side quest. Okay, with the provisional assumption of C, let's get Q arrow R. Okay, now, can we do an arrow out? No. Can we do an and out? Any dots? No. Can we do an and in? Yeah, we can put these two together. Does that get us anywhere? No. Is our goal right now an arrow? Yes. So what are we going to do? Provisionally assume this and get this. All right, let's start this side quest. Okay, so Q, provisional assumption. What we're after right now is R. Let's do it. Now with this Q here in place, can we do an arrow out? Yep, finally. This unlocks this. C arrow R. Okay, how? That's arrow out 1 and 3. Okay, now this here, here's a new arrow. Do we have a left side match for this one? Yeah, line 2. That unlocks what? R. Hey, that's the thing I wanted to get. So I'm just gonna say how I got it. Arrow out. The arrow I used was in line 4. Its left side match was in line 2. This side quest is complete, and so I'm going to zoom out and say what I can do. Yeah, if you have a Q, then you can get to R. You can stick the arrow in there. Where do we start that quest? Line 3. Where do we finish it? Line 5. And look, this is actually the fulfillment of this side quest, which means this led to this, which means I can zoom out and say, hey, if you have a C, it will lead to a Q arrow R. You can stick an arrow in there. Where do we start that quest? Line 2. Where do we finish it? Line 6. This problem is done.
So that was problems 7 through 11 from the book. What we're going to do in the next video is the subsequent problems. See you next time.